So we were discussing Pope's views about Shakespeare, who he feels has deviated from the tenets of classical criticism. Nonetheless, Pope decides to cut Shakespeare some slack, right? And he does not want to apply Aristotle's rules to Shakespeare because it would be like trying a man who has committed a crime by the laws of one country when he has committed that crime in some other country. So the analogy, the comparison is very interesting. So he is implying that Shakespeare has actually made a mistake or committed a grievous, erroneous act by deviating from the tenets of the classical writers. And in fact, to quote him, he has this to say about Shakespeare, that Shakespeare kept bad company and that he wrote to please the populace, that is, the masses, that he resembles an ancient, majestic piece of Gothic architecture where many of the details are childish, ill placed, and unequal to its grandeur. Right? So, uh, it's apparent that he has a very strong bias against Shakespeare. And in this, we can infer how loyal, how strongly committed he is to the tenets of the ancients. And that is why he keeps advocating the ancients. For him to go back to the ancients, to follow the ancients, to emulate the ancients is the only way to stick to your vocation, and that is what he means by nature. By true nature, he is referring to the way of the ancients. Now, let's look at Pope's views on wit. Now, interestingly, I want to share this fact with you. Nature, the word nature, has been used 21 times in the poem An Essay on Criticism, and the word wit has been used 46 times in the same essay. Now, wit could have multiple meanings in Pope's time, and also in the poem that Pope writes, wit can have multiple meanings. So, wit could refer to general intelligence or intelligent acuity, or ability to be, or the ability of someone to be clever or show cleverness in writing. So when someone incorporates a pun or makes a very clever use of a certain figure of speech or an expression, even that could be wit. Now, philosophers like John Locke, who were Pope's contemporaries, had a very negative view of wit. They thought being witty was being profane or being skeptical. It was the opposite of being confident, of being committed, and being honest and insightful. So, wit and philosophical truth were supposed to be the two extremes. However, Pope did not subscribe to this view of wit, and he referred to wit as a mode of knowing or a mode of understanding and apprehension which was unique to literature and which was a practice or a gift which was used by writers. So, and he also believed that, of course, wit is exploited, it is misused, and it is abused when it contravenes sound judgment. So, when it supersedes or when it overtakes sound judgment, that is then a misuse or an abuse of wit. And over here, we have some lines from his essay on criticism, in which he says, true wit is nature to advantage dressed, what oft was thought but never so well expressed. So, here clearly he refers to wit as the style of writing. He says we might have an internal knowledge of what nature is, but the presentation happens only through wit. So, it is wit that enables the presentation of nature. So, something that needs to be dressed, that was often thought but never so well expressed. So, linguistic proficiency could also be another meaning or another implication of wit.